All that remains is for you to decide what you want from this war.
We have come to die for the Dragon Queen.
Very good. We've got more lines to hunt.
Look to the sky. Doom and ruin surround us.
There will be no doubt who the gods have chosen to rule.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Green and Black. My name is Mike. His name is Justin. How you doing, Justin?
I am doing well, Mike. I am doing well. Can't say the same for Rhaenyra.
No. So we have another episode of House of the Dragon. This is season 3, episode 3, called Rhaenyra Triumphant. She doesn't seem very triumphant in this one, does she?
Oh, not at all, Mike. Oh man. I was feeling for her.
Yeah. I will tell you, this to me feels like the proper first episode of a season. It's almost like they did 8 last season. They should have done 10, and the first 2 of this season were the last 2 of last season. And now we're actually in a new season of House of the Dragon.
Yeah, I feel like they kind of messed up on that. I agree with you. I feel like the last 2 episodes should have been the penultimate season finale of season 2. And if they would have done that, honestly, I feel like everyone's overall perception of season 2 would have bumped it up dramatically, because there would have been so many payoffs and shocking moments. And then I feel like you said, this would have been a perfect season opener of a new season, because you have a whole year or two just to, take on to see, root for Rhaenyra, marinate in Rhaenyra being the queen. But immediately we're seeing that life is not really easy for her. That's a queen.
No, not at all. And this is really interesting, because after we get through the first scene with Daemon and Norman, we'll talk about that in a second, but this episode really goes into like a Rhaenyra point of view.
Yes.
For the rest of the episode, which is really interesting, because I know that you didn't read like the original Game of Thrones books, right?
I touched on them, and I know where you're going with this.
Yeah, so those books are largely done in chapters that are the point of view of a single character.
Yes.
For that chapter. So you have like chapter 4, Arya, chapter 5, Jaime, chapter 6, Brienne, and it'll be for that chapter, it'll be that person's point of view throughout the chapter. And it's just kind of like that's what this episode does, is it once you land in Rhaenyra's point of view in like the second scene, you just stay with Rhaenyra for the entire episode. And I thought that was a really like clever way to do it, and something that we haven't really seen in like at least the television version of Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I agree with you on that. Again, agree with you a lot lately, Mike. I thought it was just such a unique and a wonderful approach of how to direct the episode. So kudos to the director of that particular episode, and such a great acknowledgement of the whole Song of Fire and Ice book series, of how they did stuff like that. It was very interesting just to see like you said, not only just her point of view, but just to see her transformation within the episode. Like, you can see her literally seeing the stress tear away from her.
Oh, absolutely. And I think like they really kept it like pushing forward. Just to give the shout out, the director of this episode is Geta Patel, who also directed the last episode. But this one, yeah, it's like once we get with Rhaenyra, it's like there's like this constant forward motion in the episode, and it's almost like relentless. Like she is unprepared for what it really means to be the ruler.
Oh, absolutely. You know what, though? This literally just came to my mind at the same time, too. This is a little bit on her father's fault, because if I'm not mistaken, she was his ward, right?
I
Like
was
the
just thinking the
cupbearer.
same. I was literally just thinking the same thing.
That is crazy. This is, I'm like, you made her, especially after you made her your heir. Instantly, you should have been preparing her on thing. Like she should have been in the board meetings. She should have been in the. Well, she wasn't in the council meetings, but she should have been in the room when she's meeting when he was meeting with the high folks and the low folks and the petitions and stuff. Um, and all that. So yeah, you can see how that's gonna have a negative effect on her and her style of ruling already.
Absolutely. Like her father should have been doing what he did, like what he wanted to do to prepare her to be the ruler, you know.
Yes.
But Viserys was, let's be honest, he was a decent king, but he wasn't really interested in ruling. Like Otto did most of the work of the ruling, and Viserys would come in and make decisions and do things like that, but he wasn't like really into, he'd sit in a small council meeting and he'd make some decisions and then he'd go play with his models or whatever and
Careful, Mike. You're
really
sounding a
leave it
lot
up to
like
the small.
you're sounding a lot like the Royal Prince right now. I don't know if this is Mike talking or Damon talking.
Or Alicent, Alicent made the comment that Viserys lived in,
His
which
own
city
little
lived in a world of his own making, and we neither one of us went in it,
never
were ever
stepped
in it.
there. Yes, that was such a good line. Yes.
Yeah. So yeah, this is largely Viserys's fault because he didn't really prepare her. Like he called her his heir, but he didn't really prepare her to rule in the way that she should have been prepared. She should have been involved in the diplomacy. She should have been involved in the decision making. She should have been involved in all these little things. And so when she shows up and it's like, oh no, this is what ruling is. It's all these minute to minute decisions that you have to make. It's everybody wanting something from you. It's
Immediately. Maybe.
everything. It's everything. Every single buck stopping with you. It's nothing moves unless you move, and this constant demand on you. And so, kings will either hand that off to somebody or
Yeah,
take it on
delegation.
themselves. But she doesn't really have anybody at this point yet to hand it off to.
Oh, absolutely. And she see her make an effort. You see her definitely trying, but it's just not going for her in her favor
Yeah, and I think she had like
at
this.
all. I.
Go ahead.
Oh no, please go ahead.
I think she had like this vision of what it would
No, no,
be.
I actually,
I think she had this vision of what
yeah,
it would
yeah.
be, and it was like coronations and parades and me sitting on the Iron
And
Throne and being
banquets.
and banquets and me sitting on the Iron Throne and people loving me, and it wasn't like this, you know, day to day. Oh, people need to eat, or we need to do this, or we need to decide how this is going to work, and where we're going to buy grain from, and where we're going to get candle tallow from, and where we're going to, all the little minutia that it takes to run a kingdom.
Yeah, absolutely. It really is. I think I mentioned it in our last episode, but I'll bring it again. It reminds me of Thanos. Once Thanos got his Infinity Stones, he got what he wanted, but did he really, what did it cost him? It cost him not only everything, but just the reality, it was not what he expected to be and whatnot.
Yeah.
And I'm seeing a parallel to Rhaenyra. Like, we've been with Rhaenyra for these past 3 seasons, at least two, it started with the 3 seasons. And it's all that she's been talking about. I just want the iron that I want was rightfully mine. She finally has it, and literally the first day, it's like probably the worst. What could go wrong is going wrong.
Yeah. And I was thinking too, what I was thinking about was when Tywin was trying to teach Tommen, right? And he's
Yes,
like tell me about, what does a good king have? And he's like, one of the examples was, strength, or Robert. Robert was a strong king, but he attended one small council meeting in 17 years. And then he was like, he was a man who thought that winning and ruling were the same thing. and it's kind
Ooh,
of like that's kind of I'm kind of slotting Rhaenyra into that at the moment, you know?
absolutely, absolutely. Like at this moment, she won, but did she? Is it like you said? Is it really the same as like you won, but did you really win?
Yeah, it's
Because
like you now you have to do the job now.
yeah, and you're being you. I feel I was just watching the episode. I was like everything that you should be doing, you're not doing it. And it's like I'm really talking to her throughout the whole episode. I'm like, Rhaenyra, please don't be an idiot. Please, you need clearly you realize that what you do is going to have a impacting, a lasting effect, and not in your favor throughout the
Yeah.
whole episode. I was just like, oh man, to make things go from bad to worse, she's clearly doing it. Oh, my stomach was hurting.
And you know what else? You know what else I just thought about? It was like it's like when you watch like political movies, like modern day political movies, and people are like, okay, great, you won the election. Now we have to govern.
Yeah,
And it made me think, like thinking on this episode, like this episode is like the weirdest episode of The West Wing ever.
oh man, that's funny. And it just really shocks me though, is that those close to her are not even really helping her.
Well,
Like,
yeah, I think that's kind of the maybe kind of the point.
really.
Yeah, I mean, well, I mean, if you think about like her small council on Dragonstone, like they were they really helping her, or were they like
They
kind
were
of
holding her
pushing
back.
her aside and holding her back, and you know, doing things in spite of her or doing things around her, and
Absolutely.
and I think she's finding that like everybody's gonna have their own agenda.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you on that. I think she is realizing that, and I do believe that she has to take steps. Like otherwise, she would still be in her room back in Dragonstone if she didn't do what she had to do. So that
Right.
is true. But man, I'm just like, she's just crossing off all the wrong T's and dotting all the wrong I's. And I keep on thinking about I always mess up her name, the Master Whisperers,
But
Asaria,
Sarah,
Sarah. At
yeah.
least her, like she's giving some good advice, but she's not privy, she's not seeing the mistakes that Rhaenyra's making.
But that's what I mean. Like she's also got her own agenda. You know what I'm saying? Like she's got this agenda like you need to take and I'm not saying it's like a when I say agenda, I don't mean like necessarily like a selfish agenda, but it's like Masira is definitely about you need to take care of the small folk. You need to get people you treat people in the city, the people who've been neglected, you need to treat them better and you need to make sure that they're taken care of and everything that you do affects them. Like that's her agenda. Whereas you have like Damon, who's like
Oh
his
man,
agenda is he just wants to burn everything down.
I'm kind of
And
with them. Sorry. Oops, if my impulsive thoughts came out of my mouth.
yeah, but really he's about like restoring the Targassians, restoring the Targaryen dynasty to its former greatness. Like that, like he wants to be like that, literally gods walking among men kind of thing. And so that's his agenda. Like everybody's, and we'll go through it as we go through the episode. Like everybody's got something that they're doing on their own, and then they're going to try to use her as much as possible. And I think we've seen
That's
that that's not really unusual.
it's not unusual, and I just feel so bad for her. I feel bad for now. It's reminding me of Tommen once more. You know how everybody just literally pull him on different and like pull him from each limb until you like
Right.
you know got torn apart.
Yeah.
All this, and I'm currently blind. And I'm listening to you, and you're kind of opening my eyes. Like, oh my gosh, he's right. Like Rhaenyra is like. She's kind of like Tomlin right now. Like she is being pulled on different sides, and she's gonna pop.
Yeah, it's definitely not getting easier for her at this point. So let's dive into the episode,
Yes.
and kind of go beat by beat. So we start before we get to Rhaenyra, we start like out on this field with Ormond and Daemon, and Daemon's got Ulf and Hugh with him, and Ormond has Tessarion with him, and the Hightower army,
Yep. Yep.
and he's basically, Daemon is very bored. It
Very
seems.
Them offered you clemency and your army with you. Only bend the knee and swear your allegiance. You may return to Old Town and live your lives in peace.
Have you any proof of your claims? Or am I to trust in the reliability and rectitude of the rogue prince?
Trust me or don't, you will encounter...
Very disappointed too.
He's like, you
expecting
can bend the knee and then go
Go
back
home,
to
go.
Old Town and
more.
whatever.
Get more
You know?
live. Yada yada.
It's kind of like, oh my goodness, man, what's going on? But it was also like, I don't know, I thought it was like kind of humorous, like the contrast between these two guys, because Ormond is he's kind of uptight.
Yeah, he's very weird.
He's very weird. But he's, when Damon's like, oh, you want to be Lord of Hightower? You want to be Lord of Old Town, Ulf?
And I was like, hey, yeah, he's really, he doesn't fully understand, but he's going along with me. He's like, oh yeah. So that's what I'm talking about now.
And so but like there's some stuff that I caught like on the rewatch, because I've watched it twice now, that I didn't really catch the first time through. The first time is when Ormond like puts down his sword. He promises fealty. He doesn't swear it.
Interesting.
I, Ormond Hightower, promise to be faithful to Rhaenyra Targaryen, the Queen. I pledge my fealty to her.
Because obviously he's lying.
Oh, absolutely.
But he is a knight. So when you swear something, that's swearing before the gods. But all he says is, "I promise."
Mike, you killing it. I love that.
And then the other thing that should have been a tip off to Daemon is that when when the little imposter comes out,
say it. Yes.
Tessarion doesn't even react.
Thank you. I said the same thing, Mike. I'm starting to get very animated.
If that was actually his person,
yes.
If that was really Darren, like you would think that Tessarion would be like very agitated over that.
Yeah.
Seeing Darren get handed over to somebody, but Tessarion's just kind of sitting there like, who dat?
Who that? He was with all of us. He was watching the see the reworks. I don't know who that is. And I was like, oh man, and I'm so mad because I feel like everyone that was watching the scene kind of figured it out instantly, except for Damon, who's actually in the scene. Like, come on, Damon.
Yeah, and the other thing that should have been a giveaway, right, is that like Darren and Jace were the same age.
They were the same age. Yes, they were.
This is a kid.
They were never made it too. She said, "Oh, he's a little bit younger."
Younger than I thought, but that should have been like, no, he's way young. He's way too young. Like
half the age.
Like this kid should be 15 or 16, not 12.
Yeah. Haven't even hit puberty yet. And it will also happen to his dragon. Like, wouldn't David come for him and the dragon? Or
well, I mean, maybe, but like, how are you going to really contain the dragon? You know what I'm saying?
The other dragons,
I guess, or you can put it in a cage or whatever. But I think he was just really interested in getting Daron, because what's the because you can't like the Hightowers are not going to be able to control the dragon as long as without Daron. You know what I'm saying? So
no, that makes that will take
and Tessarion, you saw it like is a little dragon. He's a very young dragon. So probably Daemon was just probably thinking like this dragon's not a threat without its rider.
Yeah, I can think that. I can believe that. Yeah, man, the fact that they pulled one on Daemon and Rhaenyra,
Yeah. No, absolutely.
It's just, oh.
So then we
It,
get back. So then we're back now. We're back in King's Landing. We're back in the Red Keep, and now we're with Rhaenyra and Daemon, and now we don't really leave Rhaenyra for the rest of the episode, which is great. And but she's dealing with right. She's dealing with like all these memories of being back in this place.
the ghosts.
The ghost, right? Her father and her mother and
Her little brother that,
her,
died
her
while he,
right. And Jace, like the kid who looks like Jace as she sees Jace, like all
yeah,
like literal ghosts and imagined ghosts. And even, you would think like Otto and
yeah.
Ironrod, like the people that she's killed since she's been there, like their ghosts are still haunting her in a way. And she goes into like the main chamber and like there's the bed. That's the bed her father died in. It's the bed her mother died in. It's like
Her
all
brother's
this all this
skin
stuff coming
falling.
back to her.
Yeah, that would do it for me too. I don't know if I was in her predicament, if I'll be able to stay in that same room myself. So I don't blame her on that. Especially she really did have a close relationship with a lot of people that you mentioned. Her sons, her father. She had a good relationship with her mother, and it's exciting that she still hasn't fully processed and gotten over those losses yet. So yeah, it's very
Right.
interesting.
Yeah, right. She hasn't really grieved. And like everybody's everybody's coming to her. There's all this stuff. So they bring and plus she's got like this idea now that because Damon says to her is this is like, the kid
Yeah,
Daron is, he's a claimant to the throne and you're going to have to kill him.
yeah,
And she's like, that's obviously going to weigh very heavily on her. One, because, it's a child, obviously, who's had nothing to do with the goings on in King's Landing, but also this is Allison's son,
yeah. And she already took Alice's dad.
right? And obviously she's going to try to take Aemond,
Yeah. Well, that was bargained. That was negotiated. Well, no, no,
right?
not Aemon, Aegon. Excuse me. But I think it's to be expected.
Right. So, well, yeah, Aegon, but also she's got people hunting for Aemond and Vhagar too. Like
Yeah,
she wants to like eliminate that whole family.
yeah. But do you blame her though? Can you blame her? They're horrible
Can I
people.
blame her? No, I don't blame her.
I feel bad for Allison because I actually do. Believe it or not, I don't know how you feel about her. I actually do like Allison.
I do. I like her a lot, and I think she's as much a victim of this as Rhaenyra is in a lot of ways.
Oh, absolutely. I absolutely. And now that she's her prisoner, oh
Yeah,
man, I feel bad that because Rhaenyra kind of went back on her word. You even see, oh my gosh, Helena even saying that you told us, you said you let us go free,
right.
and they're stuck in this.
Yeah, and now she's finding out that everything's going to change.
Exactly.
All right, so then we get like this, the like I guess it's like the council meeting where she finds out that there's no money because
Oh,
Thailand has hidden it away somewhere,
and
and
yeah,
maybe they have Orwell in there, and he's like they're like where's the money? He's trying to explain to them that Thailand moved it, and the only other person who would know would be Ironrod, who Damon killed.
yeah.
Oop, oops.
Oops. Maybe you should let her have a few words. Maybe you should question for making that spectacle.
Yeah, and this is actually really interesting because So I'm not going to count this as a spoiler because they're obviously deviating from the book.
Right.
Um, so in the book, Tylan does not get killed at the gala. In fact, Tylan's not even there.
Really interesting.
And so when they come into King's Landing, Tylan has hidden the money, but they basically torture him. Rhaenyra sends him to be tortured, and he spends months in the dungeons, um, as they try to get the money out of him. So it's kind of weird. Like they have like no recourse at this point, and nobody who would possibly know where the money is.
Yeah.
Um, and so it'd be interesting to see what they wind up kind of doing. They also have like Damon and Massaria snipping at each other constantly
Oh my
throughout this episode.
gosh. It's funny and awkward at the same time because they're showing that you can tell that there used to be like a couple or a thing, like, but now you can see why they're ex.
Exactly.
And her face too, and Rhaenyra's basically saying, you know, what she is. I take her trust greatly, seriously, all that. And she said, that's right.
Yeah.
That was funny.
Damon's like, no, who asked you? Nobody's who's talking to you.
Well, actually, the queen is asking for my opinion. That's why I'm here.
And but this is like where you see like her agenda because Rhaenyra is like all about like, well, what about my coronation? Like, there's got to be a coronation. It's
Yeah.
got to be, and not like a rushed one like Aegon had. It's got to be the real deal. And Massaria is just thinking about like, well, that's a lot of money that we don't have to be spending when we could be spending that money on like feeding people and doing things like that. And so you see her, advancing her agenda through there. And the other guys are just like basically ignoring all of that. And everybody's trying to just kind of get like their own, whatever their little pet project is going.
It's so true, man. It's like you can never do like a group project or something because everybody has their own idea of how it's supposed to be done. Especially if you've been poised as the leader of it. I really do feel bad for Rhaenyra because she really wanted it done a certain way, and is her fantasies being chipped away by reality? That's really what it is.
That's a really good point. I mean, that's exactly what it is. She had like this storybook idea of what it would be to be queen, and she's finding out that it's nothing like that.
Built over for decades, mind you, because ever since she was a young girl, she had that along with the prophecy that she'll be queen, and also even like the savior of the song of Night, Fire and Ice. So to have that and you're living on that, and that's your motivating fuel to you actually being here and seeing the reality of it. It's like, oh. I bet she's probably thinking like Helena right now. She's like, you know what? Honestly, I'd rather be trying to find some chickens right now instead of doing all this.
Exactly. She's like, maybe I should have gone and grew oranges, sold oranges with that.
So, oh, Kristen Cole.
But she's still got in the back of her head about like, we need to find Vhagar, we need to find Aemon, we need to find Sheep Stealer,
Oh,
and
don't go down that road, Rhaenyra. Please don't.
yeah, and it's going to be interesting because I get the feeling like Damon is going to wind up having to go to the Eyrie, right? Because he's got to go confront Jane Eyre, who was supposed to send soldiers and didn't.
Yeah,
So now Rhaenyra's like she can pay in gold, and Damon's gonna have to go get that and go look for Sheep Stealer. And what's he gonna find?
his wonderful daughter.
Yeah. So that's gonna be an interesting situation.
Yeah, that's gonna be very uncomfortable. I'm not looking forward to any of that at all. This show's very good at bringing having a slow burn of discomfort.
So Rhaenyra, yeah, and then so now she goes and she's like walking through, and like everybody's coming up to her, like, "Oh, we need this, we need this, we need this," and it's just like, again, it's like this drive, and then behind that, there's like this motif of she's always seeing rats. It's like rats and ghosts are the
Yeah.
two things that are like key themes throughout this episode, right? And then someone had mentioned something about like, oh, Aegon, killed all the rat catchers, and she's always seen like there's a rat inside the throne. There's rats in the walls, and even in the sound design, like you're always hearing it in the background, like that high pitched squeal of
Yes.
the rats.
Yeah, I think it's very interesting, just the whole premise and theme of the rats. Like, I've been thinking about like what does it really mean, or what's it gonna come to? Because we've been seeing this constantly. You know what? It's very. This just came to me right now. That's been a consistent thing throughout each season because the first season, if I'm not mistaken, it was like during the later episode, it was like with the rats and crawling around. You know what I'm talking about with the banquet?
Yep.
That, and then you got the infamous rat and cheese
Yeah. Yeah.
situation in season
Blood and
two.
cheese. Yeah.
They take blood and cheese, and then now we're dealing with this. She's sitting on the throne and she's being bombarded by all these rats. And
Yeah.
she,
And I want to just throw this out there, like, rats as a metaphor
yes, please tell me.
for betrayal. Like, is this a harbinger of something that's going to happen? Is somebody going to? Are there rats? Not only are there rats in the castle, but are there rats in the castle? Like, are there people around her
Oh my gosh,
who are going to
Mike.
betray her?
Yes. You know what? That makes so sense. You get the phrase, you dirty rat. Like, you can't believe you betrayed me. Throughout this whole episode, I mean, I'm not a psychic, but you can just see the foreshadows are all over the episodes, and you can just see how I've been saying like she kind of did it to herself. You can see how there's gonna be a lot of betrayal. I honestly think. I think there's some very obvious betrayals, but even some subtle betrayals, and uh, and you see it a lot with the rats. I don't want to get too ahead, so I'm gonna stop right there. But I think when we get to the scene, I'll bring it back up again.
Yeah. And I think also that's driving, to me, it was like kind of driving this idea of like this paranoia.
Oh yeah, like Daenerys.
She's walking through the castle and seeing the rats and seeing like her ghosts and thinking like everybody wants something from me. Everybody's trying to take something from me. Even, and
Was
we'll get
rightfully
to it
hers.
later, like Corliss, it's like everybody wants a piece of me, and I think it's like starting to drive this paranoia that we've seen time and time again in in rulers, especially in Targaryen rulers, um that so I think that's like, and I think like the constant pace of the episode keeps driving that.
Oh, absolutely, man. I mean, if we were playing a fun drinking game, I would have said take a shot every time in there, kind of. You can say somebody about to betray Rhaenyra, or like set up the scene. That would have been a fun drinking game. I
every
think
time every time you see a rat, take a shot.
there you go. I think we've been definitely tipsy by the end of the episode, or probably by half of the episode.
So she goes to meet with the Septon.
Oh,
So I want to clear something up here because I've seen online a lot of confusion about this for this reason. So in the book, right? The way that George Martin set up this world at this time, the center of the faith is not in King's Landing. The High
interesting.
Septon is not in King's Landing. He's in Old Town, at the Starry Sept in Old Town. and the Sept in King's Landing is just another Castle Sept. And so this character should not be the High Septon. And in fact, this character in the first season, when he did in fact anoint Aegon, if you look at the subtitles and the way he's credited, he was credited as Eustace. So in the book, in Fire and Blood, as I said, the High Septon is in Old Town, and he's too old and frail to travel to King's Landing. So Septon Eustace kind of stands in for him in a lot of ways. What the show has decided to do is to make Eustace the High Septon and put him in King's Landing, probably just to simplify the storytelling. So this is Eustace, and this is the High Septon that she's talking to here. And so she says to him, I need a coronation, but I can't do it right now. So I just want to have you do the anointing. And he's like, yeah, if I could, but I can't.
Mm-hmm.
These are turbulent times.
I must, for the time being, forego a right and proper coronation, but I still wish at least to be anointed. By you, in full sight of the people.
Alas, that it cannot be done.
For what reason?
Some months ago, I anointed your brother Aegon and declared him the rightful king before gods and men.
Yes, Aegon is dead, and I now sit the throne.
So you now say.
He's one of those guys.
He is definitely one of those guys. And he's like, because his logic is, well, I just anointed your brother, so how could I anoint you now? And, she gives him the old, oh, well, he's dead.
Yeah, don't worry about it. He's dead.
Yeah. And he's like, well, that's what you say. And
he's a firm believer of the famous movie thing. If you don't see a dead body, that means they're not dead.
That's right. No one ever really dies. And so, well, we never saw Tylen's body. Anyway, so.
Oh. Interesting.
Anyway, so she starts to go down this road of, well, I'm here, aren't I? I've been victorious, haven't I? So the gods must be shining their favor on me. And I think she's almost got him swayed by that. And then she drops the dragon vision thing. And that's it. He's like, I'm out of here. No. You were doing so well. Now forget it. We don't do dragons here. And so she kind of she's just like said that one thing too much. It's like you had him.
You almost had it.
You almost had him, and then you had to say that one more thing. One thing I learned early in my career in sales was like, you make your pitch and then you shut up, because next person who talks loses, and she was the next person who talked.
Clearly, she was not listening the day you guys were. But she wasn't in the room when you heard that, because she just kept on going on and on.
Yeah, she was. So she just went that one little thing too far. So now she's not going to get her anointing. She's not going to get the Septon. Let's move to the next terrible thing, and that's the dinner with Corlys and Alan and Adam.
Oh, that was funny though. That was funny.
It was. It was very well done and very well staged.
You don't say. I could not tell.
But I think I see it now.
Oh, now that you mention it, there's like one or two similarities that I can tell between y'all. Like, really.
I can't put my finger on it, but I do see the resemblance.
Yeah. And it's funny because he knows, although it wasn't like, maybe he was blind because of legacy and power. And I know you and I touched on that in like previous seasons of our podcast, talk about this show. Because even though his wife, Rhaenys, was saying, don't rely so much on the strong boys and let them be in your ears and stuff. And he was so dead fork on it with Lucerys. And the thing with Joffrey, was Joffrey the next in line? I don't know who was after Lucerys.
Joffrey is next in line.
for his.
Yeah,
Okay, yes. And so now that
another strong boy.
another strong boy, and he was for that, but now that that he's acknowledging more of these sons, he's less of a blind person, but he's come to realize, well, you know what, Rhaenyra, you kind of elevated your sons, and they are out of wedlock. Hook a brother up right over here. Like he's cool with it
Yeah,
until he's not.
but he's not even going there at this point. He's just right now. He's at the dinner. He's just kind of like, it's not that big a deal.
That part.
It's a small thing, he says,
The
and
fact that he's recognizing it
right.
overall.
But he's thinking it's like not that big a deal for her to say, it's like paperwork, right?
Yeah.
And she's got all the stuff in her head, like, oh crap. Like I can't, like, oh, how do I get out of this? Because she knows the truth about her boys. And so that's what's like kind of going on in her mind. And she's already in enough trouble because she's got like commoners riding dragons. And now
That's true too.
and then the rumors of her sons, and now she's gonna like elevate these two to nobility. It's kind of like a little too much for her at this point, and she's worried about like her legitimacy and what that's gonna mean to the realm. But this is just kind of like another, and he's just like kind of almost like gaslighting her a little bit. He's kind of like, it's a small thing, it's no big deal.
Yeah.
It's nothing. It's
All
just
you have to
another
do
just another example of like somebody trying to take a piece of her, somebody trying to get a little bit of her, and she's
piece of the
just like
pie.
constantly being manipulated by everybody around her, by Carlos, by Damon, by the other members of the council, by the people, the kid, by Massaria, by even Olinda, like her
Oh
maid,
yeah. She could have
right?
used the sword.
It's just like, well, maybe that's not the look you're going for. It's like everybody's like trying to manipulate her and take a piece of her and I think she's it's just driving her frustration and her paranoia.
Oh, she's getting paranoid right now. I feel for her and I don't feel for her at the same time. Like I want to root for her, and I really do. 'Cause I'm still Team Black, but like I can be with Chorus. You know what I mean? The sea snake. Like it's not that big of a deal. You did it to your sons. Just I'm not asking for much. I did so much for you already. I lost so much. I lost my wife. I lost my quote unquote grandsons, but now he's not claiming them now. Just do this one thing for me.
Corliss is really Corliss is like really the only one who's been really truly faithful to her and has had her back no matter what and has not asked for anything up until
I
this
agree.
point.
Yeah.
Even in he's always like looking out for her to the point like even in the next scene where like she's on the throne and the people are coming with petitions, and we've seen this
Yeah.
before, right? We've seen
Yeah.
this in Game of Thrones, and he's the one who's standing there like, well, maybe we'll just talk about that later. Maybe
That's a
now's not
bold
the time,
request.
maybe now's not the time, Your Grace, to talk about that.
Yeah. He also provides her with his wisdom. He's a wise
Exactly,
man,
yeah.
you know? And he's doing this for that. It should come with some type of cause. So I think that's one thing that Rhaenyra is definitely gonna regret. She definitely hurt him in that because he just resorted right back to his brother. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I was scared he was about to get his head chopped off. But yeah, I feel like that's one thing she should definitely, because this episode in particular was just showing you ways of how people, like I said, like how I see it. This is foreshadowing how all these people are gonna like betray her, and they have reasons to betray her. Like he should do that. Like it's very much, if he was to side to the Greens, they'll do it.
Yeah.
So
So here's the thing, right? Is I don't think Corlys is betrayed. I think Corlys is still going to remain loyal to her.
you
But I
would.
think
I don't think that.
but I think at this point, like when she finally says no to him,
I have given all I had, everything, in service to you. My castle lies in ashes, and I have asked no favor in return but this.
You know very well the rumors that have dogged my sons from the first. My reign has just begun. I cannot, in this moment, be seen to raise up those born outside of noble troth.
And so you will insult my house, so that you may be seen to be something you are not.
and he gives her the whole like, I've been behind you and your sons, and I know that they're bastards, and I still supported them. I still supported you. I think he's challenging her.
Really?
Like I dare you to deny me, because at the end of the day, I've still got ships. I've still got everything I've built. I still got men. You still need me. And
Very much.
so I think he's more challenging her. I don't see him turning. I see him like trying to set her down and put her in her place and draw a line and say, no, this you are going to do for me, because you really don't have a choice.
I can see that too. I can either see that, or I can see him just betraying. I can definitely see betrayal. Like, she's gonna need him again, and really need him to depend on him. He's gonna have. I feel he's gonna have the upper hand. So you should have did what you should have did at the time. Well, either that, or even with Adam himself, she needs Adam as a dragon rider,
right?
And you could tell he was hurt. He was off. He was hurt by that.
Yeah, and let's talk about that, right? So you have the knighting ceremony, which was,
that was funny too.
Hysterical, right? Where she's like, okay, so you have to style. How are you going to style yourselves? And like they don't even understand what she's talking about. And then it's like, what are you going to call yourself? Like, she's like, Ulf, and he's like, Targaryen. She's like, no,
absolutely not.
How will you style yourself?
Oh, Targaryen, Your Grace.
Oh, absolutely not.
Then I have no style.
So fashion one.
White, then?
Good. And you?
I'm a blacksmith by trade, Your Grace. I'll go by hammer.
Hugh the Hammer? Ulf the White? And Adam of Hull?
I did not know this show was a comedy show, because that had me cracking up.
Well, somebody's got to fill in for Larissa and Aegon, because they're not in this episode.
Mm-hmm.
But so fine. Ulf the White. So she asks Ulf the White. She asks Hugh, and he says Hammer. So fine, Hugh Hammer. She doesn't ask Adam.
No.
Interesting. She's just like, okay, what do you want? Oh, Ulf the White. Okay, what do you want? Hugh Hammer. Okay, and Adam of Hull. Like she's just trying to avoid that whole thing, because he would say Valerian.
Exactly. And she probably would not been direct. She would have been direct with that. Yeah, that was not going to happen at all.
And then another example of somebody looking for something out of her is Hugh coming to her and is like, we talked about this.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a little something for Hugh, right?
A little something. I'm not asking for much.
Yeah. Nice house to live in. Someplace, because my wife's left me. And
she's definitely left you.
Gone to Templeton. So, just more people just looking for something from her. But then
go ahead. Then she what? Go ahead, because you about to say
I
it.
was gonna say it, but then she's at the point now where she like literally goes to Allison for advice because she's like,
Mm.
I don't know how to do this, and she knows that Allison was, in at least in for a while, even though Allison wasn't nearly in as much as Rhaenyra thought she was in.
Yeah.
But when
That,
Allison gives her that speech about how you can't rule and remain
How
yourself.
did you bear it? In truth? You may not rule and remain yourself. There are choices to be made, and you may, on occasion, have to turn your face away while people suffer and
Like,
die.
that was some real stuff right there.
that was some deep stuff. They've been really giving her some good lines.
And,
And I think that was a big foreshadow too.
absolutely.
Just,
And I think it's more of, this turn that Rhaenyra is making, and this, that she wanted to start to make on her own, like this change from like Rhaenyra, the queen, to like Rhaenyra more like the kingly queen. And, but now she's seeing that turn has to go further, than maybe even further than she wants it to. And like, we didn't even talk about like in the petitions, like how unprepared she was. Like when she suggested, like, oh, can't you hunt in the Kingswood? It's like, that is not something that you would have said if you knew what you were talking about. Because even people are like, what? Like, when she
they're gasping.
Yeah. And so she's that desperate that now she goes to Allison, who's like basically who has been her enemy and is basically her prisoner now, and is like, how do I do this? How do I do this thing? And Allison's dropping truth bombs on her, and the whole thing about like, what are you going to do for? It's almost like another like, what are you going to do for me?
Yeah. So I'm probably not gonna kill you. That's number one.
Yeah. Well, I'm definitely going to kill your sons. I'm going to kill Aegon, and I'm going to kill Aemond.
That's for sure. But the first promise I kind of reneged on, I'll go back on it and really mean it this time.
Yeah.
Help me. Oh no, man. I feel like Rhaenyra, if I was there, I would definitely call HR a Rhaenyra because I feel like she did a few violations already as a
She
queen.
has definitely not been sticking to the employee handbook.
She by far no.
And speaking of not sticking to the employee handbook, I'm not sure that serving rats for dinner is.
Yeah, that was my favorite scene. That was my favorite scene of the episode. I knew that was coming too. I said, "Watch, she's gonna serve them rats." I said to the people I was watching, I said, "She's gonna serve them rats." And sure enough, bada bing, bada boom. And I'm like, I said, "Now, Rhaenyra, I thought to me that was hilarious. That was funny. It definitely gave a message, but you got to read the room as well too. Like you need these highborns, you need these noble people. I know that you're trying to get the food to help the lowborns, but you got to figure something else out. While that was bold, ambitious, and funny, I think that's gonna come back and bite you in a mighty way."
Yeah, and she was digging at him before even dinner was served, right? When she's like,
She
oh,
throws
I
some
know
shade.
you stood up, you stood up for me not as quickly as I would have liked.
Yeah, you took your time. You took your time.
You have all heard, I'm sure, that our ascension is proclaimed throughout the realm. Already the high towers have bent the knee before me, and likewise, those in this room have pledged their loyalty. Later than I would have liked. But I come before you as...
I was cracking up there, I tell you. She was calling out their BS, yo. Oh man, that was so funny.
But I think, honestly, I think if anything, like this is maybe like the most rulerly thing she did, because it's like, no, I'm not gonna let you people manipulate me. Here's what's gonna happen.
Yeah, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you've been living high on the hog. The people of this city have been starving. You've got plenty of food in your storehouses. I'm going to take it and I'm going to give it out. And you're going to see what it's like to be like them for a while. And, yeah, she kind of needs them to some degree, but I think also she is demonstrating to them that they're also vulnerable.
Ooh.
Like they exist because the crown allows it. And that could be taken away from them at any moment.
Just like her and her ground.
Yeah. So I think it's reframing the situation in a way that they weren't expecting. I think they thought that much like in the last episode, much like Sir Simon thought, when Aemon came in, like this is just going to be another prince that I can wine and dine and schmooze and I'll be fine.
Yeah, he fell the hard way.
Right? I think these people came in and said, well, this is just another king, another queen. And, we have our position and she doesn't really know what she's doing. So we'll be fine. We'll be able to manipulate her. We'll be able to, still control ourselves. And, she was just reframing that conversation like, no, this is not the way it's going to be. You exist at my pleasure. And don't forget it.
Yeah, absolutely. That was such a great scene, man. Might have to rewatch it after this podcast.
It really was, yeah. So she ends up telling Allison about Darren.
Oh.
And then, Allison obviously was like, I want to see him. I haven't seen my son in 5 years. I'd like to see him. You know? And it's kind of interesting. Like, we talked about like how Damon and Rhaenyra probably should have known that something was afoot. Like Allison hasn't seen her son in years.
Right.
Because she's been living in King's Landing. He's been sent since he was very little to go live in Old Town and be fostered by Ormond, and she has not seen him in that, in most of that time. But the instant she walked in the door, she knew.
She knew.
And there was like some serious face acting going on between the two of them.
I'm saying they know how to work them faces. They know how to work them faces, man. Is so true. Because you watch that, she looked at him, she made that face, then Rhaenyra's looking at her, recognizes that, then, without saying or missing a beat, looks at him, then looks back at her. It's just,
Rhaenyra had her head on a swivel. She was like back and forth, she was watching a tennis match.
I was saying, between the two of them. The U.S. Open.
Like as soon as she saw Allison's face, she's like, "Oh crap," and she's doing the back, and then it all started to sink in. Wait a minute, this kid is too young. This kid doesn't look like like Allison. This kid, blah blah blah. All the stuff that's like all of a sudden coming, and Allison is just kind of like giving the old like shifty eyes, and all of a sudden the cat's out of the bag.
Oh yeah, she's doing that. She's doing that look like it's about to go on. It's about to be on and popping. She says I think the fact that she got tricked. Her and Damon got tricked. It's just. It's all coming right now. It's I feel like we thought Otto Hightower was a dangerous threat. I'm now my eyes are now looking towards Ormond right now, and how much damage is he gonna do?
And so Ormond, I think Ormond is going to be a really interesting character, and he's not what he says he is because guess what? He's out there attacking Tumbleton right now.
He sure is.
Which is right outside of King's Landing. Oh, and he's got a dragon.
He sure does.
He's got Darren.
And he reveals himself to be very smart. Like he's a trickster. He knows how to play this game right now.
Right. You know, and so they find out about this because the dragon keeper that Ormond had hired to watch after Caesarion has escaped, and he comes back to King's Landing and tells her about the dragon being there. So yeah, this is not.
She just can't go there and just burn this because it's like he said too. There's so many innocent people in the mix of them. So she has to be really strategic about how to handle this.
Yeah, 100%. So that's pretty much wrapping up the episode. I mean, so I think next week we're probably going to actually meet Darren. Will the real Darren please come down?
For real. I'm curious to meet him.
Yeah. And, obviously this attack on Tumbleton, and Hugh's wife, Kat, is in Tumbleton.
Yeah.
That might be a problem.
Man. I'm already see how it's going to be. Either she's going to probably be held hostage, and he's going to have to probably work for the Greens to protect her. This is me just thinking ahead. Or something like that. Yeah, it's just not... Or he's going to probably... Yeah. Oh, I can see so many things happening. That's not in Rhaenyra's favor.
I agree. So it's gonna be interesting, but I think we are like I said at the top, like we are rolling into season 3 now, and it's like these episodes are all 3 of these episodes are bangers.
Right? I think we've been really spoiled. I'm so scared, man, because we've been getting such excellent episodes. I was nervous too, because I'm telling you, season 2 was a doozy, and not in a good way. But they were definitely redeemed themselves, back to back to back bangers. It was interesting to know. I heard someone say that this episode is the only second episode in the whole House of Dragon series where there's actually no murders happening. No one died.
Yeah, I guess that's true.
Don't know which one was the first one, but they said this is the second one. So I have to go back and just double check. So that means every episode except for 2 has some type of killing.
Yeah. But it's like, that first episode was like, oh, this may be the best episode of the show, and then the second one is like, oh no, this may be the best episode of the show. It's like it's rolling, and
it's rolling.
I'm seriously looking forward to next week.
Oh, me too. Me too, Mike.
All right, so you got anything else? You got a final words?
I feel like this episode, as I mentioned, was amazing. The music throughout the episode was so uncomfortable, and I mean that in a good way. That's what it was. I think the music was basically we was able to experience Rhaenyra's feelings, her unease through the music. I think one thing that we didn't know is that she was bleeding, but it wasn't because of the throne. She was actually on her period.
Right.
So I can only imagine her just being uneasy trying to rule while she was going through that. I mean, I'm not a woman, I don't know that, but from what I hear, it's very uncomfortable.
And that's like part of that continual theme of her being hampered because she's a woman, either by her, by the men around her not letting her be who she wants to be, or because of her physical strength, or because of, because she missed things because she was in childbirth, or because of it's her time of the month, and she's got to deal with all that as well, and it makes her physically look weak. there's that constant theme, and even Allison said it at the one point. It's like, are you going to blame me for the things that the men around me do,
Oh,
or
she
something
said
like
that.
that?
Oh, so good. They give her. They give her. She might be. I don't know. No, Rhaenyra's still MVP with the lies, but Alice is a close runner-up for sure.
Yeah. So that was a good point in you bringing that up.
Yeah. But other than that, that's all I pretty much have in regards to this episode. I, like you, I'm looking very much forward to next week's episode and just seeing where is it going to lead us. Us possibly meeting Daron, us finding out about more with the relationship between. Oh, there's another thing because Rhaenyra said, sorry you guys, she says if anybody could take out Aemon, they can have Harrenhal. And who has possession of Aemon right now? Allison Rivers, who
Right.
previously said that she wanted Harrenhal. So that's gonna be very interesting to see too. I think she's gonna work her magic, no pun intended, and see how that goes.
Absolutely. We are definitely not done with Alice Rivers.
Mm-mm.
And did you even hear Orwell when like Damon was saying like there's a woman there, or like a maester, and Orwell's like, I haven't heard of it.
Yeah, that was funny. And you seen David's face about that. So you should get to know her.
All right, so that's going to wrap it up, and then we will be back again for next week.
Absolutely.
Thanks for listening, and we will check it out later.